well, we got the backing plate off. As you can see, she's rusted up pretty good. I'm gonna try to clean her up, repaint her, get everything working right on her. So, and that's the axle spindle right there. So we'll get all this cleaned up. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take the transaxle off on both sides, and the way I can get to that final rear drive bearing and seal and take care of it. So, all right, so that's where we're at. So we're going to continue on. All right, I'll show you the finished product here in a few minutes. Alright, so what I'm going to attempt now is to take this transaxle off right here. You see how much dirt and grime over the years is collected. The boot's torn, so there's no grease in there. This boot down here, same way. But there are Allen head screws down in here, up around here, that I've got to get cleaned off, or we're going to have a problem. So yeah. All right, these Allen screws is on here. They are full of dirt and grime and everything. So I got some carbon cleaner sprayed on them, and trying to get them cleaned out best I can. And but they are filthy. And I'm going to strip them out. I'm trying to take this thing off of here. So. Alright, so I got the transaxle out. I'm trying to get down here where you can see it. Right there. As you can see, there ain't hardly any grease in it. Got all the bolts taken out pretty easy. So now, what I do is I take this plate off right here. There is a C-clamp in there that takes that off, and I clean all that out, get that out. There's a cap back there that I've got to take out. Then the C-clamp comes off, then I can take this piece right here off, and that goes back to the axle spindle right there, the axle. All right, I got all the grease out. And what I gotta do now is pop out this cap right here. It pops out, and then behind there there's a C-clamp that keeps this in place. Then I'll take it off, slide this out, take this cover off back here, and then there's a seal back there that I'll take out, and then tomorrow I'll start putting another one in. I'll start putting all that stuff back together tomorrow. So, but right now I just want to take it out, and then we'll go from there. All right. All right, we got the cap out. And there is a C-clamp around that spindle in there that holds that piece on. So I'm gonna take it out. I got some clamps especially for that one, and then we'll get it taken out. All right, we got that C-clamp out, and man, I tell you, it's a pain in the butt. This little C-clamp right here, because it doesn't have the holes like a regular C-clamp does that you can put your little pliers in there. So now whenever I get ready to put it back on, I got a special pair of pliers to put that back in there, because there's a groove that it sits down in. So I'm looking forward to that. So now this spindle just comes off. I see it does. damn thing off. There. Now then. So that comes off. And it's hard to see back in there. But this comes off next. And then the seal's back there behind that. So let me put some light on the subject. So yeah, there's another C-clamp back there. It's like a spacer. And then that comes off. So, yep. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. And then I'll show you what we got. Alright, so I got this little plate off right here. You can see how dirty and nasty it is. And that goes, this spindle goes down in there like that right there. And then that plate back up in here, goes right there. So there's a spacer in there, and there's a washer, and then you get to the seal. So yeah, you got this spacer right here. And when the other seals that I bought are thicker, so I won't need that spacer when I put it back together. So, but that's how shit. There's the seal right there. So on the outside. So, all right. So I've got the seal out, and give you some light on there. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit, and then this is the old seal that came out. As you can see how dirty that seal is around there. It was probably gonna start leaking pretty anytime. So, but you got to pry this thing out of there, and this thing got hard. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm glad I'm going ahead and change out, but it's, you see how thin this one is and how thick one this one is. So now, and there's a spring in this groove right here that actually holds its shape and holds it in place. So yeah, we're gonna grease this up, put it in, put the spacer in there. Put this spacer in there, and then start buttoning her up on that end. All right, we've got all this put back together. The seal that we put inside here, back behind this, it has to go flush with the housing that this thing sits in. So I had to persuade it with this 46 millimeter socket that's actually for the axle nut, and it fits just perfect on the seal in there. So I had to beat it in place. Then there's a thrust washer that goes down in there. Then this plate here that sits inside there goes on, and this piece right here goes on, and this is where the axle mounts to. Now there's a C-clip right here that I had to take out and put back on, and if you don't have a set of these C-clamp pliers like this right here, you are hardly ever gonna get that thing back in there. So I learned that the hard way on the driver's side. So all right, let me show you what I've done so far. All right, this hose right here, this brake line right here, I'm gonna have to come back later and replace that one. And it's not hard to replace these connections right here to this hard line and to the one up there at the very top right here. I'm just gonna have to keep blasting with that blaster liquid wrench spray, because they are sure enough in there tight. They won't budge, and I don't want to break this nipple off that goes into this main hose here. This hose is still in pretty good shape, so it'll do for now. But I've got a brand new one that I'm going to replace a little bit later. I'm just going to have to keep blasting away at these right here and that one up there. So I've cleaned it off pretty much. There's still a lot of rust on here. I'm going to put that rust inhibitor spray on here. And then I will come back and put some sealer on it. It's kind of like a undercoating on this stuff here, and then paint all this black. So it's starting to clean up pretty good. So I took the shock off, and it had some persuading because this thing was nasty, and it's probably been on there. I ain't gonna tell them how long it's been on there. So we got that off. We'll clean up those ends there in that mounting bracket right there, and then I'm gonna work on putting the transaxle on. But first I gotta replace. I'm gonna replace these wheel bearings and the seals in here. Get those out of there. Redo that. Then I'll put the axle in. Then I can put the last thing will go on there will be that transaxle. So that's where we're at. It's not too bad for 50 years old, 52 years old. I mean, every car is going to have this rust on there, but it's in pretty good shape. The undercoating is coming off up underneath here, so I'm going to scrape as much as that off, clean all that little bit of rust, that surface rust there. I got it behind it, clean it up, and then I've got some other stuff to spray on it to help protect it. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And so yeah, now what I'm going to do is start taking these seals and bearings out of here and get ready to put the new ones in. Alright, so I'll show you the end result, and I'll show you some video, take some video so you can see the process of taking that stuff out. So, alright, so I started on trying to get these ball bearings out and this seal. And this is not the race for the wheel bearings. This is actually the outer spacer, so do not throw it away or you'll learn the hard way like I did. There's your ball bearing set right there. So I've got to get this seal out. Be able to get this set of ball bearings out. So I'm going to have to pry this out the best I can, trying to get it broke loose. So yeah, so that's what I got to do. So yeah, I just got to get this seal out. Once I get it out, I'll show you all the ball bearings on the inside right here. And then there's also a set of seals and ball bearings on the back side. And on the inside here, there is it's kind of like a spacer that floats free in there that the axle goes through. So yeah, I'll show it to you whenever I get done pulling this out. All right, so I got the C-clip out. And you see how big it is. Well, you definitely have got to have some C-clip pliers like this right here to get that son of a gun out. I had some choice words to say about that thing. So now we should be able to get these ball bearings out of here, just like that. So that's all there are to it. So we'll toss them over there in the bucket. All this nasty grease. And then this is the inner piece that goes in there. It just kind of floats in there and allows the axle to go through. Your seal another set of ball bearings right there, and I think there's another C-clamp in there. I've got the C-clamp out. Now I'm gonna have to get this out, I'm gonna have to tap it out from the other side. So that's thing full of grease. Oh, a bit more. Whoa, there it goes. Basically, you want to tap it on all four sides to get it to come out smooth. So all right, so let me tell you where I'm at right now. I've got all this section right here. I sprayed it yesterday with rust inhibitor, and now I've come back and spray painted it black to give it a cleaner look. And I got these right here. Got the inner bearing, wheel bearing right here, outer wheel bearing, 2 seals. That's the axle right there. I'll go ahead and get all this in. Okay, I got the inner seal in. Went in pretty easy. Got it all lubed up pretty good. I'll put some more grease on it. And then I'm gonna put the inner seal on. And then I'm gonna put the there's a spacer in there, or a sleeve that goes in behind here, but I'll put it in on the other side that the axle goes through. So yeah, so far so good. So now I'm just gonna put the seal on, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. So now to put that seal in, I just showed you, I use this tool right here. I got it from Harbor Freight. It's a Maddox bearing race and seal driver set. Yeah, you just put that up against the what you're trying to drive in, and you knock the crap out of it on this end. So, and it works pretty well. It that one went right on in. So now we'll get one of these bearings right here. This one's open already. Now this is the seal that goes on the next to that bearing, and I'll lube it up real good with this grease right here, high tempered grease. And now this one right here might take a little bit more finessing to get it in place. So got the inner seal on along with the inner wheel bearing. I'll put some more grease on there right before I put the axle through. All right, so the next piece is this. I think it's called a race. I call it a spacer. Basically what happens, this thing, the axle slips through it like that right there, and the axle rides through it like that right there. So yeah, we're gonna get this lubed up next, put it in place, and then put the outer wheel bearing and outer seal. So I just put this race in here, or spacer, whatever you want to call it. I lubed up the inside real well, because that thing's gonna be riding on the axle. So I want to make sure it was lubed up real well all the way around. Put all the lube you can in there, because you want it to ride smooth. So now we're going to put the outer wheel bearing in, then the C-clamp, and then the outer wheel seal, and then we'll put the axle in, and then we'll start get ready to work on the transaxle itself. I've got it stuck in here. This one's going to take a little finessing. So I'm going to get my little tool over there, and then I'm going to knock that seal in, and I'll show you the end result when I get done. All right. Okay, so I'm not a mechanic or anything. So I'm just letting y'all know, whenever y'all change these ball bearings out, wheel bearings, when you take the other one out, it's going to come apart. So make sure you take the ring off the old one that will still be in here. That'll still be in this housing here. I have sit here for about an hour beating on this thing, on this wheel bearing, to get it to go in, and it would have about like a quarter of an inch left to go in. It's because this was still in there. All right, so there you have it. New seals in, new wheel bearing, C-clamps in, spacer on the insides in there. So there she is. So now, when I took the wheel off, it had a spacer in here, but I think it was the inside of that old bearing there. So now we're gonna lube the axle up, put it in, and then that's probably gonna be it for the day. I'm gonna get some lunch, and then tomorrow we'll put the transaxle on, and by that time the hub and the brake backing plate will be finished up. So so here's the finished product. The axle's in. This little race that's right back here, or spacer, whatever you want to call it, that goes inside that wheel bearing, the axle wants to push it forward out here. So it'll push it forward, but you'll need to push it back into that wheel bearing. So back here, I had to get my rubber mallet, knock it on in. Now tomorrow when we put the axle on, we'll coat this with grease, along with this end over here. We'll coat that, just put a gob of grease in there. The axle itself will have grease on the end of it. Then we'll mount it up here and up there, and then it should be good to go. And I have learned today from doing this is that whenever you take parts off, make sure you have all of them. This right here wasted about an hour of my time, and and it's just this ring right here. So when you take these ball bearings off and you take the piece out that's got the ball bearings showing, remember this ring is still in there, and you can't put the other ones in until you get this one out. Tip for the day. And like I said, I'm no mechanic. I didn't know anything about VW buses or VWs, working on them, anything, until we bought this, till we bought Janis. And everything that I have learned off YouTube, or I've asked a real good friend of mine that I went to school with, David Powell, over in Montgomery. He owns Powell Automotive, big VW guy. They work on them over there all the time. His dad opened that shop back up in the 70s, and now he's taking it over. His son works there, so I'm hoping his son will take it over whenever he gets ready to retire or pass it on. So, but yeah, so I've learned a lot working on this rear end back here. So this side went a whole lot smoother than the driver's side because I didn't know what I was getting into, but now it just, I understand how everything goes except for taking all the parts out. So with that, that's gonna be it for today. Hey, Kelly and I would like to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Adventures with Janis. If you'd like to keep up with our adventure, make sure you click that subscribe button and click that bell for notifications of when we post new videos. Also, if you like the content, hey, give us a big thumbs up, and you can always leave us comments in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Adventures with Janis. And remember, like we say in the V-Dub world, drop them if you got them. Peace and V-Dub life.